Welcome back to another episode of the Level Up Alliance podcast. I am your host, Dee Garrett, and today I have a special guest, Andrea Filer, with the Home Buyers Coaching Club. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss it. Welcome back to Level Up Alliance podcast, where we're talking all things entrepreneurship, legacy building, and alliances. And today I am joined with a new alliance of mine, Andrea Filer. Andrea, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dee. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you talk to our viewers and tell them what it is that you've been working on and what you've got going on. So let me ask you, in a brief 2 to 3 minutes, tell me a little bit about how you were able to level up and get to where you are right now.
Okay. The Home Buyers Coaching Club is actually an online membership platform where we focus on education and instruction for first-time home buyers as well as those who've been previously denied. Through education, we hope to get them mortgage ready and then return them back to one of our partner realtors and lenders so that they can get into that new home.
That is awesome. I love that. Home buyer education. It's always needed.
Absolutely.
Always needed.
Absolutely.
Now, I appreciate you talking about the program, but who is Andrea Filer? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Oh, my goodness. Well, without really having you count down backwards, I've been doing in the real estate industry for over 20 plus years.
Awesome.
Started out as a marketing and PR executive, so I learned all about the marketing and PR world, so to speak, and then 9/11 hit. And I was working for an ethnic-based firm.
Okay.
And so when all of the marketing changed to patriotic, well, that meant our little piece of the market shrunk. A really great friend of mine introduced me to the real estate industry and said, have you ever seen a check that someone gets when they help someone get into a home? And I was like, no. She showed me and said, I can do that. And so there began my journey. And what people should understand about the real estate industry, especially on the lending side, we're selling money. Mm-hmm. So it's a sales position, and the education and the information comes secondary. So as I journeyed in and began my career in the industry, I realized that I was saying the same thing over and over, but to different people. And basically what I was doing was telling people about money. So I decided, how can I do this and collapse time and still make money? And so I decided to create the club. And that was back in the early 2000s.
Oh, wow.
But this was before communications. This was before we had technology. This was before really the internet was accessible to everyone. And so everything was in person. So I had to create a way to incentivize people to come out on a Saturday, sit for a few hours, take a class. And so that's kind of how the concept got started. So for every course that people take, they're able to earn a financial incentive for completing the course that helps them at the end when they're ready to purchase a home.
Now I know we've just recently met, but I was a full-time realtor for over a decade.
Oh, wow.
I got my license in '06.
So you understand the frustration.
I understand the frustration very well, because when I was a realtor, lending partners are our driving force, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's always great to build that relationship with a lender that you can refer to. And so the unfortunate part was, especially back then, as you said, with technology and the way things are, if a client wasn't ready or qualified, ready to get a home at that time, there was nothing else I could really do with them as a realtor.
Right.
It was kind of like, okay, I could check back in with them and see how's it going, how you doing on your credit, or, you working on some things, but
nothing is different today.
Okay. But there was really no accountability partner for them in the way that your program actually offers at this point, because it would, in some cases, I think when technology started to change, I did come into contact with more lenders that had like drip campaigns that would be like an email or something, but nothing that I knew that was an actual robust type platform where
Right.
there was somebody that was really holding your hand or
Right.
checking, to see what progress you were making or anything like that. So this program that you have is unique
It
for
is.
one.
It is.
And I mean, how are you getting the information out? I know, alliances and partners, people that are in the industry are sharing this, but to not only realtors, but even like real estate organizations and stuff like that. How are you sharing this information to?
Well, we're doing several different things. So we have a program called the Legacy Homeownership Program, which is a faith-based education
Okay, I
program.
like it.
So we're doing that through the churches. So we're partnering with churches, doing the same type of home ownership program, dedicated coaching, online education, providing the completion gifts, and we're doing that from a faith-based perspective. Then we have our online option where people can join the club and they have the access to the education and the dedicated coaching, everything, but it's an online platform where they can do it at their own pace, at their own time. But one of the things, Dee, I really, really want to stress and make sure that people understand, and this is where I think a lot of times it gets twisted. We talk a lot about the realtor's role, we talk a lot about the lender's role, but we never really talk about the buyer's role. And people, the buyer is the power player in the transaction. Remember, if there's no buyer, there's no need for a realtor. If there's no
Facts.
buyer, there's no need for a lender. And the buyer is the least informed and least educated person in the transaction.
That is so true.
It's crazy. So
Wow.
we try to educate our members to understand you're leading the game. The buyer doesn't, the lender doesn't get paid if you don't sign.
Yeah.
The realtor doesn't get paid if you don't sign. As we were talking
Facts.
about, the insurance agent doesn't get paid unless
Nobody.
you sign. The builder doesn't get. Nobody makes money unless the buyer signs. So the buyer's in the middle. They're leaning toward everybody else in the transaction to get information. And guess what? Everybody's trying to give information that's going to what? Benefit their position in the transaction.
Yeah.
And the buyer normally doesn't even know what their position in the transaction is. That's the key. That's where the uniqueness comes in, because we don't act as a lender. We don't act as a realtor. We're simply an advocate and a coach to help that buyer understand their position and make the best decision for them and their family.
That is amazing because you just hit home a huge point that I mean, and I was a full-time realtor for over a decade, and it's just, you just summed it up right there. That's so true. There's no transaction without the buyer.
Now, understand, I'm dual licensed. I'm a licensed real estate agent. I'm also a licensed mortgage lender. I have certifications in home buyer education and credit education. I've sat at every single seat at the table. I've been a buyer. I've been a seller. I've been an investor. I've been a flipper. I've been all the people that are around the table. I've been the lender. I've been the representative for the buyer. I've been the representative for the seller. So I understand from being in all of those different seats the mindset of each person sitting in the seat. And what I've recognized and has really led me to be passionate about this, I've seen the buyer suffer.
Yeah.
I've seen the buyer be so uninformed that down the road, when they're in a position to be foreclosed on, or they're having financial struggles, when they've had to come back to maybe a HUD counseling agency to try to help themselves, they don't even know basic things like what an escrow is.
Wow.
They didn't realize that their mortgage payment can increase because the taxes may go up. The insurance may change.
Yeah.
And a lot of times in new construction, because people are purchasing on what's
Incentivized.
called unimproved taxes, and they're not really given the explanation of what that means. The next year when the county comes up and they do a reassessment of the value, and now the value is not based on dirt, it's based on a $300,000 or $400,000 home. Those taxes go through the roof.
Man.
They no longer can afford the home because the payment goes up accordingly. But they didn't know that. Nobody ever explained that. Nobody's taking time to teach that.
And that's all included as part of your education?
Absolutely. We teach
Oh, wow.
everything about the mortgage process, what's a part of your payment, what's going to happen in the future if you don't understand that process. Yes, we make sure that our buyers are fully informed.
I appreciate that because I can tell you when I was a full time realtor, even though I had some lending knowledge, I would always say, talk to your lender because I'm like,
Stay in your lane.
look,
Stay in your
exactly
lane.
that part. I'm like, look, I'm not the lender, but you might want to ask, whatever, and
Right,
try and
right,
guide them through that because that was not my duty,
right.
So, I think that this is a very unique position to be in. Now, this program, is it nationwide, available nationwide, or is it only for Texas? Or how does
Everywhere because we're online. And FHA, VA, conventional, USDA, those underwriting guidelines are the
they're all the
same
same?
no matter where you live. So what we do is we try to help coach our clients to understanding how to be mortgage ready based on their best situation. So yeah, we're everywhere you want to be.
Okay. Now, this is an off the wall type question
Okay.
because home buyers, people may think, okay, well, I want to buy a property to invest. I want to buy a home, not necessarily live in. Is that something you also have?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because, understanding all of the different products and all of the different guidelines and all of the things that you need to understand in order for you to qualify, we have those as well, which kind of brings up another quick thing that I want to talk about. Buyers need to have someone that's advocating for them to not only obtain a home, but maintain a home.
Facts.
Now, let me give you an example. Numbers are manipulative. We know that from anything that we do. So if your debt to income ratio is high, you can go to someone and they'll tell you, well, if you pay this debt off, or if you pay this debt down, we can rescore your credit, get your credit score up. We can eliminate that debt. That means that your payment now is going to be lower, or your debt to income ratio is going to be lower because that payment no longer exists. But is that the reality of how that person lives? That's not. The other thing is that you can fit into maybe a $450,000 home because of your income and how the numbers can be manipulated, but you got 2 kids under 5 going to daycare. That's not a part of your debt to income ratio.
Right.
You've got a small business that you're trying to build on the side, which is taking some of your income to support. That's not a part of your debt to income ratio. So there are a lot of things that are not a part of your normal debt to income ratio that will not interfere with you qualifying, but is that the best decision? And a lot of times because people, again, not taking anything away from my partners, my lender partners, my realtor partners, because I am they as well. We are acting as an advocate so that we want to make sure that that borrower at least is making an informed decision.
Yes.
You're making a decision not because you love the $450,000 house and you can qualify for it, but you're going to be able to maintain it. You're not going to have to put your windows up in the summertime because your AC bill is too high. And we see those things happen all the time.
That's a great point because that was kind of something that I would talk to my clients about. A lot of times they would say, well, I'm approved for 350 or 400, but I don't want to spend that much. I don't want my payment. I'm like, you just have to communicate with your lender that what your comfortable monthly payment would be, and they'll adjust what that maximum purchase price is. I said, and actually in that course of going through the home shopping process, I would also let them know, okay, they say they can qualify for this house. They go look at this 2,500 square foot house, right? And so that fits in their budget. And then they go look at this other 1,800 square foot house. And then they're like, well, this one, I like the bigger one. And I say, okay, now keep in mind, bigger house comes with bigger bills.
Exactly. Exactly.
So let's think about, what's it going to take to heat this house? I was in Colorado at the time. So heating was huge, let alone, we can open the windows and get some cool air out there for the most part. But everything else that comes with it, the maintenance,
everything.
HOAs, even if you're in an HOA community, I would try and share that information. So this right here that you have is like to me is like the library of home ownership. I mean,
Well,
really.
and then one thing that we try to share with our members is that you're not buying a coffin. It's not the last place you'll ever lay your head. You're buying something to get started in the wealth building process.
Yes.
One of the things that you will find will always appreciate when you invest is real estate. So if you stay in the house 3 to 5 years, as your family grows, as your income grows, as maybe that business grows, you can use this as a basis to step up. But everybody wants to step in at the top.
Yes.
And then they find themselves tumbling back down to the bottom. So we try to educate, we try to inform, we try to act as a personal trainer for home buying.
Okay.
You say you want to lose weight, you say you want to, get that body in shape,
Yeah.
but your personal trainer doesn't cook for you. They don't shop for you. They don't work out for you, but they hold you accountable to the goals that you set, right?
Yes.
So with my coaching program, our dedicated coach, because you have a personalized dedicated coach that's going to work with you based on your situation.
Okay.
We always start out with understanding that person's goals.
Okay.
And from there, we build an action plan. And then we agree on the action plan. And then our role at that point is accountability and, resetting when things are not quite going the way that they need to go. So we do course correction along the way.
Okay.
But we don't make the changes. We just help you stay accountable to the changes that you say that you want to make. And psychology states that accountability is the difference in a lot of the changes that we want to make.
I believe it. I believe it. And with that, with the coaching that you were just talking about, I want to go back to that. With this program, how many coaches do you have, I guess, that are working with people? Or is there a ratio, so many coaches to so many clients? How often does the coach meet with the buyer?
Okay, great. So we have 3 different membership levels.
Okay.
The first level is called the foundations level, and that level is $29 a month. So you're going to have access to our homeownership made easy education courses where you can go at your own pace. Everything is online. You get a weekly newsletter for just information and to stay connected, but it is on your own, at your own pace, and it's education only.
Okay.
The second level is called the blueprint level. The blueprint level is $59 a month, and it is just a step above. It's all of the education. It's all of the, you still get the newsletter, but we add tools in there to help you understand better how to improve your credit, understand better your debt to income ratio, understand better your affordability, and what those tools do is help you to manage it. Again, everything is on your own because you can do it at your own pace in your own time.
Okay.
The top level is our key holder level. It's $99 a month. You must commit for at least 3 months because we know, based on all of our experience, that if you stay in the program, you follow the guidelines, we can get you where you want to be in at least 90 days.
Wow.
Within that, you're going to have a full assessment. It mirrors the mortgage process, so it's going to be like you're applying for a mortgage.
Okay.
We're going to look at everything, take that information, create that written action plan that I just talked to you about, and then we're going to, from that action plan, do your accountability. You're going to meet with your personalized or your dedicated coaches, we call them,
Okay.
twice a month.
Okay.
You're going to go over where you are in the process. They're going to talk to you. It's kind of like a psychology session, but it's also a coaching session to help you stay on track. We're going to measure your goals, and you meet twice a month for those 3 months. Now, at the end of the 90 days, because again, takes 21 days to start a habit. So first 21 days, we know you're not going to do right. So we're just getting you on track. Then the second 21 days, we know that you're probably going to be more conscious of your activities. So now we really have something to measure. And then on the third month, we feel like you should be able to now manage on your own. You're on the path that you want to be on, and then they can determine at that point, do they want to stay with us
Okay.
for an additional time, or if they feel like they can go it on their own. So that's kind of why we put the 3-month mark
Okay.
in there, because you really do need that accountability. Even when you're trying to lose weight, you
Yeah.
can't go to training for 1 month and
Come
then,
on.
you hit your goals. So
Right.
we got to have them going for that 90 days. And then at the end of the 90 days, then they can decide if they want to stay with us or if they want to move on, because at that point, we're able to then turn them back over to the realtor that referred them, or one of our partner realtors and a partnering lender, to get that all elusive mortgage pre-approval letter. And then
Absolutely.
they can go out and start shopping, because that's the ultimate goal.
I ultimately, yes, shopping. Now, now the platform is no charge for realtors, right?
Correct.
Okay. And so they're able to, are they able to see anything on the progress that the person they referred to that they can see, or?
So what happens is that the realtor becomes one of our affiliate referral partners.
Okay.
They are able to sign in with their own unique, they're going to have their own unique link. So when they refer people, they use their link, and which puts them into their back office.
Okay.
So you'll be able to log into your own back office and see all the people that you referred, and then you can't actually see their progress in the program, but you can see what program they decided to choose.
Okay.
Now it's just up to you, as we always do, to stay in contact, to encourage them, to stay connected, to keep your name top of mind. Because one of the most frustrating things for a realtor and a lender in the process is to give away all of our information, all of our guidance, all of our
That
time,
part.
and then they go away. You reach back out to them after 3 months or so just to see how they're doing, and they tell you, "Oh, I just closed on a house."
Yes.
Because of the information that I gave you.
That part.
But because people go with who's top of mind at the time. So if you stay connected, if you stay with them, if you put yourself as a part of the team, then at the point that they are ready, you're going to be right there with them to take them to the finish line.
And then there's that incentive too, because you referred them to the as the realtor, you refer them to the program. They're going to get the incentive for completing the program. And then when they see that dollar amount, there's incentive. You can share the other side of the.
Yes. So for the members, the Home Ownership Made Easy, HOME,
Okay.
Home Ownership Made Easy education program
like
is
that.
6 courses that they take. Upon completion of at least 5, each course that they complete, they get a $200 completion bonus for the completion of each course. So if
Wow.
you complete the 5 courses, you're going to get $1,000 toward your closing costs when you go back and close with the realtor and the lender that referred you to the program, or that you chose as because of the program to be able to work with. So $1,000.
That's good.
Now, what I tell people is okay, even though it's my program and $29, take 2 months to go through the program and go through the courses, and at your own pace. $60 to make 1,000. I don't think that's a bad investment
No.
in anywhere you go.
If you're serious about your business.
If you're
and
serious
trying-
about your business.
Right.
But what it does do, again, it puts you back in the seat of the power player at the table. Everybody coming to the table is going to respect you, because you're going to understand that mystical language that we speak, DTIs and LTVs and all of those things that people are like pretending to know what we're talking about, and they have no clue. They go back and they Google it. They say, "Oh, that's what they were talking about." So now you're going to understand the language. You're going to be able to talk the talk. And guess what? People respect you and look at you differently when you understand the language. So now nothing is going over your head. You're right there level with your realtor.
There you
You're
are.
level with
Oh, that's
your
so
lender
good.
as far as making the decisions that make sense for you and your family.
Empowering them. Giving
Empowering
them power.
them.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
We call it know before you go, because most people think that the first person that you need to talk to when you're getting ready to purchase a home is the realtor.
Nope. I get that all the well, I would get that. They
It's
call and say,
HBCC.
right.
You want to know before you go.
Right.
So at the beginning of your realtor relationship, they know exactly who you are, they know what you know, and they know what you want.
That is so that's funny you say that because as a realtor, there's so many people calling off a sign and then they're giving you their credit score. I'm like, okay, I'm not the lender, have to explain how it works just, off of
Exactly.
a sign call. But one last question before we get out of here. How would you define legacy? Because this is something that is huge and can empower so many people in their own personal legacy, their family. How would you define legacy?
Legacy is being able to start something today that for generations, your family will be able to look back and remember your name. Because how many things are we doing right now that beyond your passing, no one will ever know that you were here? So when you purchase real estate, when you invest in your own education and you pass that down to your children
Mm-hmm.
and you see your children benefit and you pass
Mm-hmm.
that down to their children and you see them benefit, you understand what legacy is. Tell you a quick story. My learning about this because of the generation that I come from, not going to put any numbers on it, but the generation that I come from, baby boomers, our parents did not have the information to
Yeah.
share with us. So, me coming into this financial world and understanding real estate and understanding all of this information was new to me. But I made sure that my daughters understood. Now, both of my daughters are unicorns, meaning they both carry 800 credit scores because I
Okay.
told them you treat your credit like you treat your kids. You
Okay.
do not let anybody touch it.
All
So
right.
they are able to do anything they want whenever they want because you could do more with credit than you can with cash.
Absolutely. Facts.
We have a 20-year-old grandson that has just now stepped into the financial world and he's already rocking 700.
Okay.
So he's understanding.
Let's
He's
go.
understanding real estate. He's
Yes.
understanding the benefit. We're looking at now because we understand this.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Atlanta at Morehouse. So we're
Okay.
looking at, as a family, investing in a property in Atlanta for
For
him
him.
where he will be able to be the landlord
Mm-hmm.
and rent out the rooms,
Okay.
have his housing be paid for free, and add income to his pocket, and then we'll be able to then turn that property over to him. Again, that's legacy.
There it
That's
is. I love
passing
it.
information down at whatever level you're able to. At
Mm-hmm.
the time that you're able to do it to make sure. Now, I can imagine his children are going to be inheriting a legacy of real estate proportions. My one of my
Yes.
daughters has two properties already.
Mm-hmm.
Three. I'm sorry, three properties
Okay.
already. So her kids are 5 and 7, so
Oh,
they're already on their
wow.
way. This one, I can see him having multiple properties, multifamily properties. I mean, it's just the world is wide open for him because now he has three generations of information to pull
Mm-hmm.
from. So that's what legacy is. At whatever place you are, start developing something that generationally will outlast you. And again, people in your family line will be able to look back and know your name
Yes.
because of what you started in preparation for them.
Girl, that is so good.
That's
So
it.
good. I love that. And so tell the people where they can find you. Where can they connect with you?
Absolutely. You can go online to home buyers with an S, homebuyerscoaching.com. All the information you need is right there online. You can look at the membership. You could look at the home ownership made easy education courses. You can look at the membership levels. You can start the process. You can contact us. We even do free 15-minute consultations to kind of answer your questions if you have questions. You can learn more about me. Everything is on the website. And with technology the way that it is right now, that's the best brochure that I could ever offer you. But again, it's homebuyerscoaching.com.
Thank you so much, Andrea. I
Thank you,
really
Dee.
enjoyed speaking with you
I
today.
appreciate you having me.
Thank you. And you guys heard it all here right now. Home
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 Buyers
Buyers Coaching
Coaching.
Club,
Uh-uh.
HBC Coaching.
It's Homebuyers Coaching Club, but the website is homebuyers.coaching.com.
Buyerscoaching.com. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that.
Not a problem.
So once again, we have continued this conversation about legacy building, and I would hope that you continue to tune in. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and stay locked in so you can get more valuable information just like this on the next episode. Thank you for joining.